place there, I'd probably been kicked harder than any. Bruiser Brody kicked me one night with that running boot he has. That boot he gives you, man, he hit me so hard, about spun my head around. It was like, God dang. And I pounded him right back, though. I hit him right back. He went down to one knee. So I don't know.
Did you guys get along all
I've
right?
done learned, man, you got to fight these dudes.
How were you and Brody like in the back? You guys get along all right?
Oh man, super, super.
Yep.
Because we spent a lot of time in Japan together in places. So yeah, it was no problem at all with Bruiser, not at all. I've heard a lot of people, say things about him being hard to work with or whatever, but nothing like that with me. No problems at all. No problems with any of the guys. I'll just be honest, man. That's why people don't want to, they don't like me doing these talks because I have nothing negative to say. I had a great time with everybody I worked with. I didn't have no problems with anybody. I loved every night I got to go to the ring was just a pleasure. I didn't care if I come out with a busted nose, a lip, whatever. I didn't care. I just loved it.
I don't mind you saying that you got along with him. That's fine. I just want to know like kind of what they're like in the back. Rip gives the same answer.
I can only give you my experience. Now other guys may say something totally different.
With you, yeah.
My experience in the ring with guys like Brody and Hansen and stuff, but I had no problems. I'm not saying they wasn't stiff. Now these guys was stiff. They'd beat the crap out of you in a second. There ain't no problem with that. But you fight them back and, give them a good match and everything else is fine. Same with the boys, Kerry and, Kevin and them guys. I mean, they gonna get their stuff, but if you fight them back, everything's good with them, They respect that.
Give him your Stan Hansen story didn't you race his one that?
Oh, I was going down to work for Ole and I was real tight with Ole. And I used to run WCW developmental towns, spot shows in Indiana and some parts of Kentucky. And Ole had put the TV up and it had Rip Rogers against Stan Hansen. I looked at that and I said, Ole, come here. He come over there. I scribbled Stan Hansen's name out and wrote Ole Anderson.
No, you scribbled your name out.
Yeah, and put Ole Anderson's name in there. That he was going to work against Hansen. So I said, I ain't getting in there with him. I said, he might hurt you because he was fucking blind and he might he was a stud and he'd hit you hard. He'd look at you. He couldn't hardly see you and everything. I said, hell no.
I was the same way. I had bad vision too.
Right.
I had real bad vision. That's why I never could. I didn't trust myself to do turnbuckle stuff. I couldn't do dives off the turnbuckle and different things like that because I couldn't judge the distance. I couldn't tell. I didn't want to fall on somebody and just completely kill them, So
right.
I tried to stay everything grounded as much as possible. But here's a Japan with Bruiser Brody. Him and I are teaming up against a couple of Japanese guys on TV. And it's one of my first times going out over there. And Bruiser tells me, just follow me, whatever, just follow me. So that music comes on. He's got his chain. He's throwing that chain around. You can't really see too much, because they kind of hit you with a spotlight.
Yeah.
People, he's going through there like Godzilla, man. People are just spreading out all over the place. I get in the ring. And I look around and there's no Bruiser Brody. I look up in the stands and the chairs, in the stands, and he's walking through the stands, hitting people with the chain and kicking people and stuff, I'm like, oh my God, what have I gotten into? And he makes his way back to the ring, and these Japanese guys, man, they didn't know me from nobody, so every one of them's wanting to suplex me. I don't know what the deal, suplex the big guy. So, with that waist kind of suplex they want to do. So all night long, I'm just fighting these guys, trying not to get suplexed. And so Brody gets in there. He says, watch this. This is what you need to do. So he takes one of them kids. He takes the kid and throws him in. I don't even know if he called it, but he drop kicked this kid, man. He drop kicked him. That kid's head, I thought, was going to go into the stand somewhere. He kicked him so hard. He come over and tagged me and said, that's what you need to do right there. So I was like, oh, okay. From then on, man, I was just beating them dudes up. I beat them up, Cause he said, you have to, this is back, you got to remember, this is in the 80s. This ain't modern day, so. Yeah. Then here's my Stan Hansen, in Japan. I team up with Stan Hansen for the tag team tournaments. So we're in this gymnasium, and they always put these mats on the floor to protect the gymnasiums. And as you walk out the door, there's a little bitty, where the mat is, might be a little bitty that far off the floor. So as you step out, you gotta, kind of go through that. So both of us have bad visions. I make the step right. Stan goes out first, and he just hits that little thing on the toe of his boot and falls straight on his face. And I stepped right over him. I said, "You come into the ring or what?" And he jumps up all crazy with that lariat. "You son of a bitch!" He started hitting people. He just fell straight on his face.
That is awesome.
I mean, you imagine the honor of getting teamed up with Bruiser Brody and Stan Hansen in Japan. I mean, that's like, that's the biggest thing ever. I mean, at that particular time, they were like gods over there, basically.
Yeah.
They were making, I don't know what they were making, $50,000 a week or something. It was just insane money.
They were over.
I wasn't making that, but
they were over so much. And in Japan, it was taboo. Like if you worked for Baba, you stayed with Baba. You didn't switch back and forth like to go Baba to Inoki and Brody. They were going back and forth. It seemed like all the time and just getting more raises, and nobody said a word because they drew.
Whoever gave them the most money, that's who they went to.
Yeah, because
nobody said nothing to them.
Right. Uh-huh.
I stayed with Baba. That's who I was with. I was with Baba the whole time. So I was never offered any other. I wasn't offered a raise or anything. So I had to stay with Baba.
Big gold and a billfold, so swole that I can't get the shit closed. So I money fold and rubber band wrap. And when